We see it happen over and over. Someone skyrockets to the top of their field, only to inexplicably self-destruct at the exact moment they achieve everything they wanted. The culture loves a perfect arcing narrative. Take the young prodigy who drops out of college, becomes a high-powered executive by 21, and publishes a controversial best-selling book. From the outside, the trajectory looks flawless, but that highlight reel conveniently edits out the reality. It hides the crumbling companies teetering on bankruptcy, the physical exhaustion, and the severe panic attacks over a broken Wi-Fi router. When a person falls from that peak, the cause is rarely an external force like a bad economy or pure bad luck. The implosion is engineered from the inside, a psychological time bomb cultivated by our modern obsession with main character energy. Discard the clinical Freudian ego, the image of a rational writer trying to direct an unconscious horse. The working, colloquial definition of ego is much more dangerous, an unhealthy belief in our own importance. It is a petulant, childlike need for recognition, far beyond any reasonable utility. This brand of arrogance acts as a silencer on the world around us. It replaces rational feedback with bluster, blinds us to our actual flaws, and becomes the single greatest threat to our own potential. Every project or career starts in the same place, the aspiration phase. We are setting out to make a dent in the universe. But right out of the gate, ego offers a shortcut. Instead of doing the quiet, tedious work required to get good, it tempts us to seek early validation just by talking about our grand plans. Our culture constantly tells us to find our passion, but what we actually require in this phase is purpose. Passion is entirely about the self. It says, I want this. Purpose is work-centered and detached from self-gratification. It says, I must do this, regardless of the recognition. Surviving the aspiration phase requires subduing the desire to be a star. You have to recognize how much you don't know, put your head down, and adopt the unglamorous mindset of an eternal student. Eventually, that quiet work pays off, and you reach the summit. You achieve success, and immediately you face an entirely new threat. Success brings an intoxicating illusion. You start to believe that because you won, you are inherently special. You contract what basketball coach Pat Riley called the disease of me, the belief that the rules no longer apply to you. Look at an ambitious empire builder like John DeLorean. He built a legendary car company, but his unchecked ego, his negligence, and his absolute inability to say no inevitably drove his own creation right into the ground. The antidote to this hubris comes from the Stoics, who relied on a concept called Euthymia. Euthymia is a Greek word that roughly translates to tranquility. In practice, it means knowing your own specific path and staying on it, without getting distracted by the accomplishments or the competition of the people around you. If you don't define what actually matters to you, the default answer easily becomes more. Maintaining strict boundaries and absolute sobriety is the only way to prevent your success from cannibalizing itself. But no one stays at the summit forever. Eventually, you experience the inevitable third phase, the fall into failure and adversity. Failing hurts, but ego turns a slip into a devastating unraveling. Instead of analyzing what went wrong, ego takes an objective setback personally. It claims the system is unfair and shifts the blame to everyone else. A fragile sense of self will do anything to avoid looking in the mirror. It will aggressively escalate a bad situation, doubling down on terrible bets or destructive lies just to save face. Recovering requires a radical shift. You have to strip away the need for external validation and judge yourself strictly by your own internal scorecard. You have to decide that doing the honest work, regardless of the outcome, is enough. Hitting rock bottom is rarely pleasant, but experiencing a jarring, perspective-altering break is often the only mechanism capable of shattering our illusions, clearing the rubble, and allowing us to rebuild. Aspire, success, and failure are not a linear timeline that you complete once and graduate from. They form an endless, inescapable loop. We are constantly transitioning between these states, and in every single transition, ego acts as the dangerous, unseen swing vote, threatening to pull us off course. We spend a lot of energy trying to become better executives, artists, or athletes, but perfecting our personal character Clamping down on our destructive impulses is the actual prerequisite for lasting professional success. Survival on this cycle demands a relentless, unglamorous daily practice. You have to wake up every single morning and sweep the floor, choosing humility to stay grounded in reality.